September 10th, 2024 has gone down history, but not for the pleasant reasons, as flood wreaked havoc on lives and livelihoods in Maiduguri as a result of overflow of water from Alao Dam. Now that incident has raised eyebrows on so many questions. More importantly is the issue of management of dams across the country to avert such incidences. For instance, the nature and strength of Ngada River and overflow into Ala Dam and the consequential flood risk, experts say, can be controlled going forward. Recently, the Nigerian Hydrological Services Agency has warned residents in floodplains to relocate to safer places in anticipation of attendant floods due to the annual release of water from the Lagdo Dam in Cameroon. Now, despite impending threats, the federal government, through the agency, says plans are underway to build some buffer dams to contain incessant floodings, which often arise from the release of water from the Lagdo Dam in Cameroon. However, experts are of the opinion that there must be commitment at all levels towards investing in construction and maintenance of dams infrastructure to address the challenge of flooding. But what other measures can be taken towards preventing and controlling the overflow of water from dams to avert flooding? On Weekend File tonight, we examine ways of tackling flood ravages through dams. And our guest is Mr. Femi Bejide. He is the Director, Operational Hydrology Nigeria Hydrological Services Agency. We have reports that capture the situation across the country as filed in by our correspondents. Thank you for joining us on Weekend File. I'm Ruth Aguele. First, let's bring you the news. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has forwarded the names of members of the inaugural governing board of the Northwest Development Commission to the Senate for confirmation. A statement by the Special Advisor to the President on Information and Strategy, Bayo Onanuga, says the step follows President Tinubu's signing of the Northwest Development Commission bill into law on 24 July, marking a crucial milestone in the Commission's establishment. The nominees for the NWDC Governing Board are Chairman Ambassador Haruna Ginsau from Jigawa State, MD and CEO Professor Abdullahi Shehu Ma'aji from Kano, with 7 other members. The statement adds that the NWDC will focus on catalyzing significant growth and socio-economic empowerment in the region, which the nominees are expected to spearhead. In other news, it was a moment of resolve as the Minister of Interior, Olubunmi Tunji-Ojo, made a bold commitment that no one, regardless of their status, will be above the law. The minister assured the investigation into the alleged preferential treatment given to Idris Okuneye, widely known as Bobrisky, at the Kirikiri Custodial Center, would be thorough and investigated, without favoritism, of course. Tunji-Ojo made this pledge during a media briefing marking his 1 year in office. Victor Azu has more for us.
The Minister of Interior arrives to a room full of eager reporters and editors. In his calm yet confident tone, he recounts the highlights of his people-centric reform across all agencies of the ministry.
We met most of our officers in the paramilitary. We tell you a lot of them had been stagnated for 6 years, 8 years, some even 10 years. In the last 9 months, we've had 53,000 promotions in our agencies.
At the Nigeria Immigration Service, Tunji-Ojo says Nigerians at home and abroad may now choose to get their passports by courier instead of traveling long distances. In addition to upgrade of correctional facilities in parts of the country, the minister recalls the release of more than 4,000 inmates with minor offences.
We're able to raise 585 million through the private sector, and and we were able to pay off the fines, and that led us to the release of over 4,000 inmates, decongesting our prisons, our correctional centers by 5%, and saving government of over ₦1 billion annually in terms of feeding.
Asked about investigations into preferential treatment accorded Idris Okuneye, widely known as Bobrisky, during his incarceration in Lagos, the minister has this to say.
Be sure of this, we will not shield anybody, no matter who the person is.
In just 1 year, the minister's vision for a more efficient and responsive Ministry of Interior is coming to life. Each achievement is a step towards a safer and more just Nigeria. In Abuja, Victor Azu, NTA News.
The Minister of Solid Minerals Development, Dele Alake, has pledged Nigeria's support to the global campaign against lead poisoning to save the lives of vulnerable citizens in the mining industry. Reviewing the exhibition on lead campaign at the Lead Free Future event organized by UNICEF and USAID on the sidelines of the United Nations General Assembly, Alake announced plans to procure additional equipment for the detection of lead in communities plagued by lead poisoning. He advocated more enlightenment on the threat posed to persons in the mining of gold and other minerals, emphasizing that cleaning up lead from communities will restore child and maternal health. He emphasized the need to factor lead reduction in the process of local value addition being championed by the ministry. USAID representative Cassie Bartram appreciated the commitment of the Nigerian government in sanitizing the mining industry with globally accepted policies. And still on concerns about health, 3 more communities in Easy and Ebonyi Council areas of Ebonyi State have recorded new cases of cholera. Now, this brings the total cases to 69 since its outbreak again. The Ebonyi State Commissioner for Health, Dr. Moses Ikenna Ekuma, made this known while briefing newsmen in Abakaliki on the recent development. Fortunate also brings us details.
Giving an update on the outbreak of cholera in the state, the Commissioner for Health, Ebonyi State, Dr. Moses Ekoma, said apart from Ndri Bokoto village, Eza Inyimego in Iji local government area where cases of cholera outbreak were recorded in the past 4 days, new cases have been recorded in Ndogbagobashi village. Another case that led to the death of the patient within few hours in Oferekpe village, all in Iji local government area, as well as 5 cases, one of which led to the death of the patient in Okum village of Ebonyi local government area.
So, Ministry of Health, in collaboration with WHO, Council Chairman of Local Government, Ebonyi State Rapid Response Team, and other stakeholders moved immediately to that community.
And then majority of the patients are stable.
Adequate surveillance has been mounted in the affected communities, adding that there hasn't been any new case or mortality for the past 24 hours. In Abakaliki, Fortunate Ozo, NTA News.
A delegation from the newly established Ministry of Livestock Development, led by the Permanent Secretary, Dr. Chinyere Akujobi, visited Maiduguri, the Borno state capital, to show solidarity with the government and people affected by the recent devastating flood. The delegation aimed to assess the losses incurred by livestock and other confined animals, ensuring support for the affected communities. Kaigama Mustafa reports.
The 9 September flood disaster in Maiduguri no doubt came with it a huge devastation, not only to property, but to livestock, especially those kept in the Sandakari Museum Park, killing hundreds of them. At the government house, where she had an interaction with the governor, Professor Babagana Umar Zulum, she told him that the visit was a presidential directive for them to come and carry out an on-the-spot assessment of the losses suffered by the livestock sector.
The essence is that we want to be able to develop specific targeted interventions that will help support the people of Borno State.
This is an emergency situation. We want to see how through the efforts you can support those that are affected, especially the livestock farmers.
They were also at the Shefu of Governor's Palace on the same mission. The entourage assessed the palace's livestock affected by the flood, and Sandakarimi Park, where more than 50 animals as of now are unaccounted for. In Maiduguri, Kaigama Mustafa, NTA News.
As part of its contributions to Nigeria's food security, Golden Penny has pledged its commitment to continue providing nutritional products at affordable prices. This was at the conglomerate's celebration of its 60th anniversary in grand style, with displays of a wide array of different soups from across the country at the Golden Penny Semovita Soup Festival in Abuja. Bossade Abel Amoso dished out the menu for us.
Your soup's first choice. It was a display of Nigeria's cuisines, from the east to the west, north to south. A celebration of food, fun, and unforgettable family moments. This is the second annual edition of the Golden Penny Semovita Soup Festival that celebrates and appreciates consumers.
We're here to celebrate the diversity of Nigerian culture. If you think of all the different soups, and there's so many of them here, they need the soup's first choice, which is Golden Penny Semovita.
So the good thing about the Golden Penny brand is that, like I mentioned earlier on, it's made from premium wheat and it's fortified with the essential vitamins and minerals. Easy to mold, easy to swallow.
We continue to have innovations around this category. It's part of a nutritious group of foods that we will continue to provide to the consumer.
Beyond the food, there was a range of activities like master classes, culinary education, entertainment from Kiss, Daniel, Kiki, Chooks, the General, and a host of other entertainers. There was also family moment where various prizes were won.
It's an amazing one. As you can see, look at the mammoth crowd. You'd understand that people need this, especially the fact that they put the family concept together.
Golden Penny, thank you for bringing us all your foods. I really like it very much. Yes.
Golden Penny Semovita says its intention is to put smile not only on the faces of consumers and customers, but in their stomach and make their soup's first choice permanent. In Abuja, Bossede Ebo Lamos, NTA News.
Let's talk politics. The People's Democratic Party in Ogun State has held parallel congresses with two persons a margin as state chairman of the party, while Dr. Sikirulai Ogundele was re-elected as chairman of the party at a congress held in Query Road. Abayomi Tela emerged chairman of the party at a congress held in Oke, Ilewo, all in Abeokuta. Yemi Dalemo reports.
Delegates to the two congresses of the People's Democratic Party, PDP, in Ogun State emerged from similar parallel ward and local government congresses of the party earlier held across the 20 local government areas of the state. At one of the state congress held in Quarry Road, the former party chairman, Sikurulai Ogundele, retained his position. Salisu Oloruntola emerged as the party's secretary, Austin Oniyoko, publicity secretary, and Eboluwa Abosede, state women leader, among others.
We're still looking up to having a very united political party. I want to appeal to whoever that are groused, whoever that is aggrieved, to let's just join hands together and move the party forward.
The Ogun State PDP Congress Committee members from Abuja supervised the Congress where Abayomi Tela was elected as the chairman of the party.
I am going to ensure that each and every time that we are out to do something, we are going to make wide consultation and ensure that everybody is keen to whatever we are going to do.
The factional PDP leaders agreed to widen consultations to ensure the unity and progress of the party as they participate in the forthcoming local government elections in Ogun State. In Abeokuta, Yemi Dalemo, NTA News.
The federal government has declared Tuesday, 1st October 2024, public holiday to commemorate the nation's 64th Independence Day anniversary. The Minister of Interior, Dr. Olubunmi Tunji-Ojo, who made the declaration in a statement on behalf of the federal government, congratulates Nigerians on the occasion. He hails their sacrifices, reiterating the need for them to reflect on the labor of heroes past and be inspired for the task ahead, realizing that the dream of Nigeria can only be built through unity. In other news, the Nigerian Railway Corporation has reacted to complaints of passengers in obtaining tickets online, leading to ticket racketeering on the Abuja-Kaduna train services. To end this practice, the management has set up a team to investigate, while Mohammed Modibo Ibrahim has been directed to take over as manager of the Abuja-Kaduna train station with immediate effect. The Railway Corporation is appealing to passengers to exercise patience as the situation will soon be brought under control. Meanwhile, the MD has directed an increase in the number of train frequencies on the route within the next 2 weeks. All right, let's take some messages. When we come back, we'll be discussing tackling flood ravages through dams. Please stay tuned. Thank you for staying tuned. Before we begin the conversation on ways to tackle floods, especially with focus on dams, we'll bring you some situation reports. Government and Maiduguri residents, especially those badly affected by the unforgettable September flood disaster, have learned bitter lessons from the calamity owing to its magnitude that led to loss of lives and property. Let's hear more from Abubakar Musa.
It is no longer news that residents of Maiduguri and environs have experienced the worst calamity so far in history, the 9th September devastating flood crisis, compelling victims to take refuge in government-designated camps and other safer places.
People build it without proper planning. So when the water comes into the city and it is overflowing, it has to just find more ways to move about. The other unfortunate thing is that the planning of the city, especially not only the planning, even the way we build our houses, there's no foresight for disasters. The cement we use to build houses, the blocks we use to build houses are not meant for a long term or to resist any mishap.
With a flood relief disbursement committee now inaugurated by the Borno State government, NTA News crew sought to find out if there are plans to come up with a blueprint towards ensuring a more robust flood mitigation mechanisms.
There is a liaison between Chad Basin Development Authority and the Borno State government in ways and technicalities to maybe expand the dam or to create alternate dam that will conserve the excess water that had overflowed.
The harrowing experience of the flood crisis in Maiduguri, stakeholders say, is enough to serve as a clarion call for residents to strictly adhere to environmental laws towards avoiding a repeat of the September 9th flood disaster. In Maiduguri, Abubakar Musa, NTA News.
Well, they say effective management of dams can play an important role in flood mitigation, particularly as climate change is causing more extreme weather events. Well, for this to be achieved, experts say a comprehensive process that captures the impact of flooding on the socio-economic structures of communities is required, including pragmatic approach by relevant authorities. Bolaji Akim reports.
The recent flooding in Maiduguri, which came with devastating effects, has drawn the attention of authorities concerned to the state of dams across the country and the need for maintenance to mitigate the impact of perennial flooding. In addition to being a coastal state which placed Lagos at risk, some residents of the state have over the years been affected by flooding as a result of release of water from the Onyo Dam.
The major spillway of Onyo Dam is the Ogun River that traverses through Isheri, Kara, Alagbole, up to Ajegunle, pass through Ikorodu and enter the lagoon. So that's why the lesson we can learn now is that the Ogun River Basin Development Authority should now as a matter of urgency, carry out the silting, river taming, and channelization of the spillway.
The sequence in which it will be opened to the volume of water that will be released. These things can be agreed on because the whole idea is for the water not to burst the dam and make it collapse.
Checkmating perennial flooding, experts say, requires the collective effort of both the government at all levels and the citizens. In Lagos, Bolaji Akim, NTA News.
Right, let's bring in our guests. We have with us in the studio Mr. Femi Bejide. He's a Director Operational Hydrology from the Nigerian Hydrological Agency. Thank you for joining us, Mr. Bejide.
Thank you for having me.
All right, let's just go straight to the current situation. Unfortunately, we're still in September, especially when we're looking at flood situation across the country. The release of water from Lagdo Dam. Recently, NISA was, throwing out caution for people to move to safer places. But we hear the federal government, has already directed a comprehensive report, for evaluation of dams and to look at other issues as regards its roadmap. But you tell us the latest development as regards this release of water. Should we be worried?
Yeah, there's no much to worry about as far as Lagdo Dam water releases is concerned, because our agency, Nigeria Hydrological Services Agency, under the leadership of Umar Ibrahim Mohammed, our Director General, we are in close contact with the management of Lagdo Dam, and we have, through Memorandum of Understanding, we have secured a gradual release of water. So by this arrangement, you can find out that last week, Lagdo Dam management was supposed to release water for 7 days, which they have done, and the quantity also is agreed upon, such that it will be enough for the River Benue to be able to contain and convey. And that's the situation now. And we are monitoring the movement of these releases from our first station in Uroboki down to Lokoja, down to Rivers State. We have all our stations there, daily monitoring, because that's the directive of our DG, and we are giving Nigeria updates.
Okay, and effective management of dams has been concerns, for a lot of experts concerned. And one thing is certain, to have these dams available, just recently, your agency came out with reports that about 18 thereabout buffer dams are to be constructed, right? Am I correct, Mr. Bejide?
Yeah, when it comes to dams, construction of dams to contain flood specifically in Nigeria nationwide, according to JICA report, Japanese International Cooperation Agency, they proposed 23 dams for Nigeria, but recently, most recently, the Presidential Committee on Flood Mitigation have also submitted their report, and I think they proposed 5 dams in strategic areas of the nation for the purpose of flood control.
Okay, so where is the 18 coming from, we're hearing?
Yes, there are spots in Nigeria, we call them flood spots. So if we map those spots, then they are supposed, a dam is supposed to be built there to control the floodings. And this spot, of course, we know them in Nigeria by geopolitical zone, like the one of the Lagdo release. There is supposed to be a buffer dam in Adamawa State, which is under design and things up till now. If that dam have been constructed, the issue of the River Benue River system and flooding will have been taken care of. We have the one also from the Transboundary River, River Niger, coming also from Kebbi State. So we need a dam there. We also have the issue of Lokoja in Kogi State. There's also a dam to be constructed there. Then we go deeper into Kogi Senatorial District West or Ojid. That place also is always flooded. A dam also can be constructed there. It has been proposed down to Oyo that we just recently heard that they're having problem now down in Ogun State. So these are all the flash points for floodings. So dam for flood control, purposely for flood control, if they are constructed there, then Nigeria will have gone a long way in flood mitigation through dam management.
And Mr. Bejide, you know, of serious concern is the fact that every year there's an annual flood outlook by the agency, yes. Especially for flood-prone zones and, of course, peak flood seasons. Why do we still have this cycle of the challenge of early preparedness, if you want to put it that way, or response to when the disaster happens? Why the cycle?
Okay. Yes, the fact of the matter remains that early in the year, Nigeria Hydrological Services Agency, by late February or early March, we come out with one of our products, Annual Flood Outlook, AFO, and showing the whole nation how the flooding scenario will look like that very particular year. And we also distribute all these materials and products first to the state governors of the federations and to our partners also, to NGOs, to everyone to look at and to prepare early for a month, 5 months, 6 months before the incidents of flooding will take place. There is warning. And we have done that, and we always do that, and we are committed to that. Then apart from that, we monitor all the major rivers and tributaries of the nation. We have our stations all around and daily monitoring the level. So if it's getting to a red alert, a flood level, we also alert the nation, because there are two types of flood. There are many kinds of flooding, but the ones that are common in Nigeria is the flash flooding, river flooding, and urban flooding. And we have to understand this. Flash flooding is due to effects of climate change, excessive rain within a short time. And that's also what caused the Alau Dam collapse and the flooding in Maiduguri metropolis. So, and all the flooding scenarios we have had so far in Nigeria are just flash flooding due to climate change, excessive rainfall. Then river flooding, we have given, they are all on red alerts. And we have warned again that Nigerians in the riverine areas and downstreams and all the states should prepare. And for the past 3 weeks now, we have given the alert and the warning. So why is it that we're having this? Of course, there are challenges. Number one, attitudinal challenges, the people, their attitude towards it. When you give information, say to be forewarned, it will be forearmed. Yeah. But when you forewarn, they are not forearmed. That's number one. Number two.
Okay. Mr. Bejide, just before you give us number two, we hear 11 states are at risk. Just hold that thought. Let's take a break. We'll be back. Glad to know you're there. Mr. Bejide, just before you conclude your thoughts on the factors responsible, let's look at the history of dam collapses dating back to the initial incident in 1988 involving the Bagauda Dam located in Kano. Investigation into these occurrences are frequently attributed to failures to factors such as intense rainfall and other factors. Well, in this report, our correspondent Musa Baba Aliyu delves into the landscape of dams in Nigeria, analyzing their capacities and the effectiveness of their management systems.
Nigeria holds approximately 333 billion cubic meters of surface water and around 156 billion cubic meters of underground water. The surface water is stored in dams, reservoirs, and lakes across the country. These water resources play a pivotal role in various sectors, including hydroelectric power generation, agricultural activities, and providing potable water for both human and animal consumption.
The number one function of a dam is to manage flood. Then you take advantage of the other possibilities like power generation, irrigation, fishing, all those ones comes after the fundamental fact of having to manage the flood.
Investigations have revealed that dams and reservoirs in Nigeria were constructed in compliance with international standards. The structures were designed with spillways that serve to safeguard the dams from potential overflow or collapse. In spite of that, the country has experienced instances of dams and reservoir failure over the years. The most recent incident involved Alo Dam in Maiduguri, Borno State. Engineers attribute this failure to poor maintenance, inadequate spillway channels, and flooding of the dam embankment.
Because of the climate change, the downpour was in excess, and the rivers could not actually contain the water. And more water that was unexpected was channeled into this Alau Dam that spilled over the dike. The dam does not actually collapse. There is no collapse of Alau Dam.
The federal government has mandated a comprehensive evaluation of all dams across the country. This proactive measure aims to assess the structural integrity and operational resilience of existing dams. In Abuja, Musa Baba Aliyu, NTA News.
Well, it becomes imperative to, as a matter of urgency, put up measures to forestall the existential threats usually posed by flood disasters, especially to the Niger Delta region and some parts of the southeast, towards mitigating flood devastation in the region and its environs. Ifoma Okafo has details.
In states like Anambra, Bayelsa, and Edo, flood occurrences are known to be severe, most times resulting in loss of lives, destruction of social and economic infrastructure. Due to the flat nature of the land, low-lying and swamp basin of the regions, there is mostly severe regular flooding, which is aggravated by the topography, soil pattern, and heavy rainfall. Flooding in the Niger Delta and some parts of southeast has been a complex issue occasioned by heavy rainfall, blockage of drainage, poor urban planning, and land use. In 2022 alone, not less than 12 communities of Ilushi, Agenegbode, Ekperi Udaba in Edo North were mostly hit by flood disaster. Thousands of inhabitants displaced, farmlands submerged, causing untold hardship for the people.
We have rehabilitated a dam that we have in Uhum area, that's around Ekboma, while we have a dam that is already completed and existing in Ogwashuku. Ogwashuku is in Delta State.
We have our own little rules to play, and when we come collectively, it goes a long way. Like, we should dispose our waste properly.
Expectation is that with these measures in place, the issue of flood devastation that has taken a toll on the people of South-South and parts of Southeast regions will be greatly reduced. In Benin, Ifoma Okafo, NTA News.
All right, Mr. Bejide, you were talking about some of the factors attitudinal change. Well, while man contributes, nature also is inevitable. So just round up that thought for us.
Yes, the attitude of the people, like I said, when it comes to flash floodings, which is mostly common in Nigeria now, we are experiencing, it's not riverine flooding. It doesn't affect people at the riverside. It's everybody where rain falls. So, and this water, excess water, needs a passageway. So all the gutters, all the canals, all the drainages have to be cleared. That is their own, the people, the community's responsibility. So if that is done, then the water coming will be able to have a way to pass, and that also will go greatly. From the documentary that we have just listened to, even in Edo, you found that even drainage is not even there for the water to pass. And also, as the reporter rightly said, it's a low lying, so there's no way for runoff. So it remains, and the soil also, majority is laterite. So these are the problems we're having. But drainage should be enlarged. The escarpment should be also be made, and people also should make sure they clear this so that water can have its way to pass.
Okay, what about managing dams, especially with the rise in water levels we're seeing across the country? What should really be in place regarding that?
Yes, Nigeria Hydrological Services Agency, we are in touch with the management of the dams, like Jeba Dam, Kanji Dam, even outside the country, like Lagdo Dam, as I've said. We work in synergy. We are monitoring the water levels. Also, we are telling them they also are in contact. They also know the amount of water, the rising level. They know the water coming. They know how to release their own water in their dam little by little to be able to contain the water coming. One of the purpose of dam is to secure, to detain the water so that it will not, the excess water will not go and cause flood. So the dam management, like the Kanji, the Jeba, right now the water is coming from River Niger system. They are in touch. They know all these things. They are prepared. Even the dam is not even up to capacity because they have empty, so that to be able to contain the water coming from the River Niger. So there is no cause for alarm, although the readings are on red alert, but yet the dams also are prepared. The problem with the River Benue is that the dams that are supposed to be constructed along River Benue River system were not constructed. So what do you expect?
Okay, and talking about expectation, though not a pleasant one, every year we see with this prediction, we expect the flood. And then these dams, like you said, the dams have its positive. Now, but ironically, we're saying that when they're overwhelmed, sometimes spillage can cause flooding. What really going forward? Is it just about constructing these dams or managing them really?
Yes, it will interest you that 86% of the dams in Nigeria are earth-filled dams, not gravity concrete dams. So Alau Dam is also one of that also. It's an earth-filled dam. So Alau Dam was constructed like the minister, my minister of water resources have just spoken in your documentary, that the causes of Maiduguri flooding. There are two rivers contributing water to Alau Dam. And this excessive rain over the Cameroon mountains, so much that, and they are flowing downward because waters flow downward. They are coming down. They pass through Sambisa forest. Had it been that Sambisa forest is also not there, the devastation will have been far more than what we have experienced. The Sambisa forest also slowed down the waters before they enter into these two rivers. These two rivers also were overwhelmed, and they flowed down to the Alau Dam. The dam was constructed not to receive such volume of water, so the dam was overrun. And of course, there's a little breakage actually in the spillway, and both the flood water coming and the water already impounded in the dam give way down 8 kilometers towards Maiduguri metropolis.
You know why I asked that question, just as we're rounding off, some of these dams have been constructed in the 80s, some in the 90s. So management really, continuous management is key, Mr. Femi Bejide. We have to leave the conversation there, but of course the issue will always be out there as we continue the conversations on other platforms. Thank you so much, Mr. Femi Bejide. He's the Director Operational Hydrology from the Nigeria Hydrological Services Agency, NISA. Thank you for your contribution on Wake and File.
Thank you for having me. Let every Nigeria stay safe, move from the floodplain, clear your drainages, and all will be well.
By the grace of God, right?
Yes.
Let's take a break. We'll be back. Stay tuned. Thank you for staying with us. On the global scene, U.S. presidential candidate Kamala Harris pledges immigration crackdown reform, just as migrants boat capsizes off Spain Canary Island. Kolo Mohammed has details.
The United States Vice President Kamala Harris is playing a catch-up on immigration. In a speech in Douglas, Arizona, before a friendly audience, Harris tried to hold a tough on illegal migration line with a promise to reach across the aisle to fix an immigration system she said was broken.
I will surge support to law enforcement agencies on the front lines more personnel, more training, and more technology, including 100 new inspection systems.
And she said anyone attempting to cross the border illegally would be barred from seeking asylum. Elsewhere, on one of the islands in the archipelago from off El Hierro, 84 people were on board and 27 rescued after the rescuers responded to a distress call received shortly after midnight. In late August, Spain's Prime Minister visited Mauritania and the Gambia to sign cooperation agreements to crack down on people smugglers while expanding pathways for legal migration. The International Organization for Migration, a United Nations agency, estimates that 4,857 people have died on the same route since 2014. Many aid organizations say it's a massive undercount, with Comendo Frontiers, a Spanish non-governmental organization that protects migrants' rights, saying 18,680 have died trying to reach Europe. Floods and landslides caused by heavy downpours in Nepal killed at least 10 people across Himalayan country, with rescue teams searching for 18 missing people. Parts of Nepal have been flooded with rainfall since Friday, prompting disaster authorities to warn of flash floods in multiple rivers. More than 3,000 security personnel were deployed to assist rescue efforts with helicopters and motorboats. All domestic flights out of Kathmandu were cancelled from Friday evening, affecting more than 150 departures. Kolo Muhammad, NTA News.
All right, time for sports update, and we have Francisca standing by. Francisca, what's the latest?
Thank you, Ruth. Welcome to Sports Update. Rivers State will host the 43rd edition of Federation of Public Service Games, FEBSGA, one of the biggest sporting events in the country, which attracts over 10,000 athletes, officials and dignitaries in the public service sector. National President Aloku Amebi disclosed that Governor Siminalayi Fubara has approved the release of facilities as members all converged on the Moshood Biola National Stadium, Abuja, for the September edition of FEBSGA fitness exercise in commemoration of Nigeria's 64th independence anniversary.
What they are doing is about youth. See, they are looking younger, even at their old age. So fitness is for everybody, not even for civil service alone.
Besides sitting down and working as civil servants, you need to exercise your body, which is good for your health and for your productivity.
A healthy civil service is a service that will serve the nation better.
The Executive Governor of Rivers State, Sim Fobra, for giving us the opportunity to hold this game once again in Rivers State, and we are promising that it's going to be an exciting and wonderful one.
The monthly event, which is the last for the year, serves as final preparation for 2024 FEBSGA Games in Port Harcourt. More hopes alive for senior secondary school students in the Federal Capital Territory after the conclusion of Ryoshi Dubai football tournament in Wuse, with Extreme Learning Center Lokogoma securing a 2-0 victory over Cherryfield College, Jukoi. The tournament, which held in phases, attempts to resuscitate school sports at collegiate level and afford students opportunity to not only grow their careers in academics, but also in sports.
And I think we will never go far to see what this thing can turn out to be. So having been professional football coaches, we realize the gap in grassroots development, which is why for the past 3 years we've been planning and preparing for this day.
The objective of this is to revive the moribund sports school that we used to have in the past. You know, in the past we have the sports school that brought the lives of Kano Wankwo.
Outstanding players were recognized for their performance with certificate of participation, as Wuse in Abuja is set to be the training hub for the academy in Nigeria. In the Nigeria Premier Football League, Nasarawa United overcame last week's 4-3 defeat to El Kanemi to beat Ikorodu City by 2-1 at the Mobolaji Johnson Arena in Lagos, while Akwa United lost by 1-2 to Sunshine Stars of Akure. On Sunday, 7 games will be decided as Niger Tornadoes take on Bendel Insurance. Abia Warriors welcome Kano Pillar. Katsina United take on Lobby Stars, and Shooting Stars host Heartland. Away from Nigeria, Africa Footballer of the Year Victor Osimhen opened his scoring accounts for Turkish side Galatasaray in their 3-3 draw with Kasim Pasa. The draw ensured Galatasaray remain top of the Superliga with 19 points in 7 games, 4 clear of Samsunspor. Well, that's it on Sports Update. It's back to Ruth.
All right, Francisca, let's call it a night, right? Well, it's good night from me. Thank you for being part of Weekend File. I'm Ruth Aguele. Bye.